New Mexico, Route 66. It's not all dirt and ghost towns and old gas stations. Look at this. We're in beautiful Old Town Albuquerque. When I was a kid, Albuquerque was just a funny word that Bugs Bunny would say from time to time. When I got older, I'd come through Albuquerque playing shows in a punk rock band in sketchy neighborhoods. And it wasn't until the last few years that I really got to see all these parts of Albuquerque, the 300-year-old parts of Albuquerque, where Pueblo and Spanish and Mexican and American culture all collide. And old Route 66 used to come right through, right next door to Old Town and the plaza. So I knew I had to bring London here because we are making our way from California eastward along Route 66. We've had many adventures already. There are many more to come. And for today's adventure, we're actually heading outside of Albuquerque to one of my favorite roadside attractions of all time. But there was no way I was gonna breeze through here and not stop not only at one of my favorite little old towns in America, but also, of course, the infamous Route 66 Rattlesnake Museum. Now, I filmed a full tour of the Rattlesnake Museum years ago, but that doesn't matter. Every time I come through, if it's open, I'm going in. It's the largest live collection of different species of rattlesnake on public display in the world, as they're very proud of telling you. I was about to say it's only been here since 1990, but if you think about it, that's 34 years ago. But whether you think that's a long time or a short time, it has become an iconic piece of Route 66. And look at the size of the snake collection. I like looking at rattlesnakes in here, and I like learning about rattlesnakes. The first time I came, it really educated me on the fact that the rattlesnakes aren't against you. They don't hunt us. They don't like biting us. They're usually doing it in self-defense or because we scare or alarm them. And so I felt a little more comfortable with the fact that rattlesnakes exist after being here. But seeing the rattlesnakes is awesome. I really enjoy the rattlesnakes. I enjoy the museum. I encourage you to watch that full video I did here. But that's not my primary motive. One, I want to share it with London. And two, when you're done with the Rattlesnake Museum, you get an indispensable souvenir. It's just cool because if you saw our recent video at the Jackrabbit Trading Post, that used to be a snake display. I mean, there were tons of old style. See the rattlesnake snake pit attractions all up and down the old highways and Route 66. They're almost all gone. But here, that little bit of Route 66, an old roadside attraction, history survives, but it's not just an attraction because the proprietor here is very, very into these snakes. He takes an excellent amount of care of them. Lots of them are actually rescues. He's very passionate about educating people. Bob Myers, the rattlesnake man, genuinely loves these creatures. It's great because you can learn everything there is to know about rattlesnakes in here. There's all kinds of books. You got their relationship to the native cultures out here. And then over here, it's crazy. You have lots of pop culture stuff like snakes in the movies, horror comics. Look at this guy right here. That's sick. All kinds of information. And there are guys in here that are giving tours and telling you all about the snakes. This is my favorite. There's literally a display about snake oil. Crazy. That whole expression, snake oil salesman, that came from something. Ew, what is that? Do I even want to know? So awesome, dude. So awesome. Come see Bob. Come see the snakes. Come get your certificate of bravery. We did. Nope. We survived. Oh, and when in California, make sure you visit their sister attraction. We've seen the Rattlesnake Museum, best Albuquerque Route 66 attraction, and now we're taking a short drive 30 or 40 minutes away along the path of old Route 66, up I-40, up the mountains, eastward, and a little detour. It's just a few minutes north of Route 66 to the quiet wooded town of Sandia Park, New Mexico, a place very few people have heard of unless you've come for this. Of all the roadside attractions I've seen in the 49 states I have been to, this is in my top 3, maybe in my top 1 slot. We're back at Tinkertown. Right from the gate, right from the parking lot, you're starting to see handmade signs. You're starting to see handmade buildings constructed of concrete and over 50,000 glass bottles in this place. What Tinkertown is hard to describe. It's sort of the visual personification of attention deficit disorder, creativity, madness, genius, tinkering, all of my favorite stuff in one place. Now this is another place that I have been to before, I have filmed a full tour of before, but it's a place I can't get enough of, and the kind of place where it's impossible to see everything on one visit. The one thing I want you to keep in mind as we explore this is that this was all created by one guy, Ross Ward, who started messing around with little wood carvings in the 1960s and built little traveling displays, and then in 1983 started Tinkertown. Look at this, here's just a little sampling of all the things we are about to see. Prepare your brains for overload. Dude, look at how much stuff is out here already, and we haven't even gone inside yet. We've got Ross's art car, hanging rodents, hand-painted signs and photo ops and washing machines. Look at this old carnival wagon, amazing, like a snake oil wagon. It's like the world's greatest fantasy ghost town out here. And as you'll see, it's such a great mix of Western and carnival and circus and antiques. There are all these buildings and peek-ins, old wagons, fire hoses. Look at that old furniture. Hey, Calico Ghost Town. There's Walter Knott's Ghost Town News from Knott's Berry Farm. I'll give you a spoiler alert. Ross passed away about 20-something years ago, but I wish I had met him because he's clearly a man after my own heart. It's all my favorite things in one amazing, rickety, crickety, handmade, custom-built, incredible place. I can't even believe I'm back here. Tinkertown is something I frequently dream about. I literally have these dreams that I'm in a place just like this. I wake up and think, man, that place was so cool. And then I remember, it wasn't just a dream. I was dreaming of Tinkertown. All right, look at the old chuck wagon over here. I love this ghost town setup. This is every kind of roadside attraction, ghost town, tourist trap, art exhibit, all rolled into one. And actually, if you take the time to read all these hand-painted signs, there's quite a bit of historical information here. Oh, that's right, I remember now. This whole section is called Buzzard Gulch. This is why my dream has always been to own land, so I can do something like this. I mean, look at this. Check out the livery stable. That's one fine horse. There's the corral. Look at this. You got fun pick opportunities, London. I mean, come on, already. Have you ever been somewhere like this in your life? And you've grown up with me. Yeah. So that's saying something. Concrete sculpture, bottle walls, welded metal artifact art, crazy homespun architecture, the stonework, the colors, the hand-painted stuff. Okay, enough of the outside. We've got to go inside of Ross Ward's crazy structures. We're gonna pay our admission in here. We're gonna skip the gift shop at first and head right in to Tinkertown proper. Just remember, all of this was built by one guy. When you first enter on your left, that's the side wall of his house. He started that in 1969. Ross Ward was born in South Dakota and started decorating store windows at the age of 12. And then later got a job as a sign painter and decorating circus signs and merry-go-rounds. The carving started in 1962, obviously because the house was 69. That's when the crazy construction started. And then by 1983, there was so much stuff in here that he opened this museum to the public. And it's been here my entire life. I cannot believe it's not more well-known. I'm not kidding. Maybe my favorite attraction in the 49 states I've been to. Okay, when London first entered, because he's new, they gave him the magic quarter. And now we're gonna hear the band. Dude, look at this. Here we go. Rusty Wire and the Turquoise Trail Riders. Look at this hand-carved figure band. Look at these custom-made, homemade animatronics here. They're playing old music. Everything's moving around. Look at that. Granny says that music is too dang loud. I mean, this is incredible. This is my favorite type of thing in the world. All right, once the band stops playing, you can make your way a little bit deeper into the Tinkertown Museum. But already, before you even really get in, you can see it's all windy and twisty. There are so many structures and little buildings, and look how dense everything is everywhere. There's ceramics and horseshoes and old spoons and weird metal creations and colorful horseshoes and weird pieces of cactus and all these push-button animatronics. Check that out, London. Look at these animated scenes. Look at Grandma out there chopping wood. What's the guy doing on the porch? Oh, what else would he be doing at Tinkertown? He's carving a wooden figure. This is the type of stuff I love. Look at all the detail. Look at all the hand painting. Look at all the crazy signs. This is awesome because one of the first things you see is the artist's workshop. This is where Ross would create all of his little wooden figures. And look at that. There are many sitting there in the workshop. This area sort of serves as both entrance and exit because you actually have to make your way back through here later. You see what I'm saying about how dense everything is? All the pictures over here. I mean, you have everything from, like, look at the old antique door pulls to pictures of Ross and Carla, his wife, out at Calico. Look at this over here. You got a cigar store Indian carved in 1976. It just never ends. Every square inch of this place, it feels like, is covered with artifacts, antiques, and works of art you cannot see anywhere else. One of my favorite things at Tinkertown are all the buzzards. Look at all the hand-carved buzzards. Now, as you guys know that have been around for a while, I love hand-painted signs. I love handmade art. Lately, I've been doing a lot of wood carving the last 3 or 4 years, and I never really thought about it, but that all started kind of after I came to Tinkertown, because I thought, man, if this guy could do it, maybe I could do it. And I've never forgotten his motto that he used to tell visitors whenever they would come to the museum and they'd go, how did you do all of this? How did one guy do all of this? And he used to say, I did all this while you were watching TV. Look at this. It was begun as a hobby in 1962. Was never even intended for the public. This is just the stuff that he loved. Just the passions. Oh, look at that. See, I almost missed this. You got to be careful, or you'll go right past something weird, something interesting, something tiny. London just told me I gotta come over here and look up this hole. Oh, look, another buzzard. See? I ain't looking for people with good taste, just people who taste good. All right, we're going into Tinkertown proper now. This is where it really kicks off for me. See, there's a million entrance signs. Look at this. This is how it all started. Ross Ward's crazy hand-carved dioramas. And look, he put his own motto on a hand-painted sign. I did all this while you were watching TV.
This feels like an adult version of a confusing play place.
Yes, confusing, but wonderful. You just look into any of these little handmade buildings, and all those little figures there, all those little faces were handmade by Ross Ward. And what fascinates me is not just like the hand-carved figures and their little outfits, their little clothing, but the scratch-made stuff, and then how that's mixed in with like ready-made stuff. Look at those little Zepp cans there. All the tiny little signs and products, the hand-painted descriptions, all that's impressive. But the best thing is that each little character has a personality. Everybody's doing something in the scene. And if you look carefully, there's all these little push buttons, and the scenes are actually animated. Look at this guy riding the bucking bronco. Then behind him is a ladies' temperance meeting, and then way back there, see the people dancing in the dance hall? Look at this couple down here in the Monarch Hotel. They're just hitched. There's a guy behind them hammering in a nail. In the next room over, there's a guy smoking a stogie in the barber shop. Look at this. There's a guy taking a bath. I mean, we've barely just walked into this hallway, and look how many more scenes there are. And once again, every square inch is packed with something interesting. Look at this blacksmith shop. Look familiar? He was a huge fan of Knott's Berry Farm. It's not a coincidence. He recreated some of the old signs at Knott's. I see Calico references in here. We didn't see the blacksmith working. There we go. Look at him hammering that thing over there. Sweet. And all these little miniature scenes, but then if you turn around, there's stuff behind you on the walls, and then above you, there's stuff on the ceiling. I told you, just one visit to Tinkertown could never possibly be enough. Dude, look at the Lucky Nugget Saloon. Look how packed this scene is. They're drinking, they're wiping the tables, there's guys opening the doors, there's an armadillo drinking a beer. And that's just in one room in one of the buildings. The whole town is like this. This is the coolest Western town that never existed, and it all came out of one guy's imagination. Now imagine, not only do you have to carve all these little figures and make clothes for them, and then find little miniature things that match to set the scene, build the buildings, but then to get underneath and design them so that they're animated, so that they move. Just imagine not only the time it took, but the planning involved to build it all around the little animated things that you wanted to have. Dude, look at this. This is Emily. She's been jumping rope for over 50 years. Look at that, and look at that toy shop right there. That's insane. You got Disney tributes down there. You have all kinds of toys. You spy anything from your childhood? I already see a few things from mine. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. Oh my gosh, look at the top of the building. He's even got a little Humpty Dumpty up there. I've seen a lot of Old West dioramas before, and a lot of them are like this, have a lot of historical tributes, or they're trying to be accurate. But what makes this so special is how whimsical it is and how silly. I mean, you'll have everything from the girl jumping rope. Mary Poppins is up here flying around. Look at that. I mean, he's not afraid to put in humor. He's not afraid to put in toys. Anything that strikes his fancy. You have the circus popcorn cart. You got little flat wooden guys. You've got Chinese porcelain figures, Mickey Mouse, everything's in here. Now, legitimately, to do this properly, I could get a tripod and a zoom lens and be in here and just film this and make an hour-long, 2-hour-long, 3-hour-long video, because there's so much to see in here, and all of it is interesting, amusing. A lot of it's really funny. I'm not even reading you all the little signs, like the inflation money sign right there on the roof. Just for an example, back here, there's a sign that says, "All this lawyer talk sounds like a bum steer to me, and that's no bull." Look at, you got the devil wheeling this guy away on a wheelchair. In front of the pharmacy, there's a cigar store Indian out front. There's old vitamin bottles. Look at this scene up here with the doctor. It says, "Why, hello, nurse, did you forget to knock?" "Knock? I should knock you. Stop pining for that young sapling, you old splinter." And I just noticed the doctor's name is Dr. Will I Hack, MD. Ooh, we got to sign the guest book while we're in here. London already slipped in a couple of dollars into the donation box. Look at that hand-carved finger. Sick. Dude, I can hear everyone that comes in here just has their mind blown by something or another, especially when you realize this is all handmade stuff for the most part. You cannot buy this, you cannot collect this, you cannot find another one of these guys anywhere. It is all one of a kind. Okay, we're leaving that hallway, and if you thought the dioramas were over, you'd be very wrong. Look at just outside of that long hallway of dioramas. You've got a whole bunch of characters and scenes in here. You'll start to see weird collections of artifacts that Ross collected over the years. There's some legit pieces of archaeology sprinkled through Tinkertown. So not only do you have his characters, these were all created in 1975, but you'll have other carvings from who knows where. Look, there's a tiki right there. Look at this, toys from India. It starts to get hard to tell. What did he make? What did he collect? What did where come from who? Where brain did come from? How did build, carve, make? I almost forgot about the massive collection of cake toppers, wedding cake toppers that he's got. Look at this, wedding figures collected from nearly every state, 1840s to 1980s. That's crazy. All right, London's using the change machine. Don't look at that room yet, no spoilers. We're about to put some quarters in the old Boot Hill scene. All right, go for it, London. Oh, look at this, the angels and the devils fighting over this guy. You got the skeletons swinging over here. That is incredible. A little blinding. I think I'm gonna look away until that flashing is done. It's incredible. Dude, look at the characterization. Look at the Undertaker right there. Look at the preacher. He looks a little sadistic, actually. Ooh, and look at Death right there. Don't you forget about dying. Don't you forget about your friend Death. Don't you forget that Alfred Hitchcock? He's risen from the grave. Dude, I can't even imagine creating something like this, much less all the dioramas we saw in the last room. And just look at the strange collections everywhere. There's a bunch of antique 19th century irons over here with that signature hand-painted information painted on there. Look at this marriage certificate on the ceiling next to the cake toppers. You got your wall drug sticker. Sorry, I'm moving the camera around all frantically, but I can't help it. There's so much to see. If you think the camera's moving around like crazy, my eyes are going left to right, up and down. I'm so overstimulated. And then look at the size of these carved guys. And one thing I know Ross Ward loved is Old Knott's Berry Farm. And of course, Andy Anderson carved all those figures like the original Sad-Eyed Joe and the Pekin guys. They all originally had carved wood heads. And it looks like old Ross Ward has got his very own Knott's Berry Farm size wooden-headed dudes. All right, we're seeing a little mix of Old West, but you're gonna start to see some circus stuff creeping in, because remember, some of his earliest jobs were painting signs and banners for circuses coming through, and that turned into a full-on obsession with circus stuff. And so of course he would combine it with his wood carving hobby and antique collecting hobby. Look at this. This is the whole sideshow. All right, London's gonna push the bottom button for me. That's the ballyhoo. That's outside where you have the carnival barker announcing like, hey, we got the circus, we got the freaks, we got the oddities, as the sign says. Come on in, step right up and see the sideshow. Look in front of them. You got your cold drinks and cotton candy. Mr. Peanut's back there with a bunch of creepy dolls. But the most impressive thing is the sideshow itself. This is a Ross Ward creation, this sideshow. And if London comes back over here and pushes this button for us, check it out, Vantine the Magician comes to life. The fire eater thing lights up back there. Look at the queen of reptiles, Sheila the snake charmer. You got the world's smallest human being, the living art gallery. You've got the tallest man on earth, the alligator man, the monkey girl. You got the fat lady, you got the sword swallower. And then look above this, above Ross's scene, you've got pictures of actual sideshow performers from the last 100 years. And that's nuts. I mean, you'll notice I skipped over Native American artifacts. I kind of have to skip over all these old circus movie stills. Above our heads in here, there are actual circus banners. Look at this. This one's for a two-headed calf, painted by Fred Johnson in the 1940s. Some of these are worth a fortune now. Dude, it's absolutely insane. There is so much in every direction, but particularly up. Circus signs, those sideshow banners I was talking about, the saddlebags, the boots, the harnesses, and the costumes of the actual circus performers themselves. We still haven't seen anything yet because this is the main circus room, and when you come in here, you are literally flanked by giant dioramas of the circus. Behind you as you enter, you've got the big giant animal tent. So you have all these circus animals over here. Look at that, the ticket wagon, all the eager patrons. You got this guy down here in his little hat smoking a stogie. You got the entrance tent with the ticket takers, the popcorn vendors. Look at, there's the guy selling programs, and there's a souvenir tent back there, packed, by the way, with tons of little miniature souvenirs. And behind it all, the giant animal tent. I know it's so hard to see on camera, but you've got the hand-carved hippos and some lions and buffalo and elephants back there. And the crazy thing is that he got all these circus wagons. I don't know what he collected. I don't know what was pre-existing toys. I don't know what he carved. It's all this crazy jumble of art. Dude, look at all those circus wagons. Like I said, that's all behind you as you enter. But when you first come around that corner, all you see is this, the main attraction, the big top. Dude, would you look at the size of that diorama back there? That thing must be the size of 2 or 3 pool tables, I'm guessing. And it is packed with circus performers, with clowns, with animals. I see jugglers and camels and dogs and donkeys. Oh, look at over here, you got the knife thrower, chucking knives at that poor lady. And there's such a weird mix of things. I see a chalkware Santa Claus. I see some action figures, cast iron and tin toy elephants down here in this corner. It's like he would make these scenes out of anything and everything. And then look above our heads. If that diorama wasn't enough to keep you distracted for hours and hours, there are photos. There's memorabilia. I forgot to even mention the whole display case full of hobo clowns. I mean, everything from Buffalo Bill's Wild West show to Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey to Campbell Brothers circus stuff. There are souvenir pamphlets and booklets and programs and guides everywhere. This might be the most circus artifacts I've ever seen in any one place. Not to mention, again, the giant circus wagons. I don't know if he made all these or these are pre-existing things. Oh, nope, this is also one of Ross's hand-carved pieces, apparently. The crazy thing about that is, look at these guys, look at their faces and everything. He actually carved even his miniatures in more than one style. I don't think he carved these horses. They look plastic to me. So again, it's that mixed media, that mixing of materials that I find super impressive. I don't remember if I talked about this last time or not, but one thing that's really striking me this time are the clothes. I've done some wood carving. I can tell you that is a totally different skill than making a miniature set of clothes, that's for sure. Dude, if you're into circus stuff, this room will blow your mind. And then look at this little nook down here. London's standing down here. There's even little displays underneath, presumably where Ross would have to climb down to work on the animation in his scenes. Look at that, you got some of the elephant harnesses and anklets from circus parades. You've got Big Louie's circus shoes and pants right there. One of the only guys with bigger feet than me. I'm a size 14. Ladies. I don't know what that means. I'm not sure, but I think Louis Moylan, the circus giant, also played Gargantua the Great. Look at that. The world's most terrifying living creature, the largest gorilla ever exhibited. You put a tall guy like that in a gorilla costume back in the day in a dark tent, you're gonna get some pretty freaked out circus goers. Dude, look at this. See, here's an old machine, the Mummy's Tomb, that came from Blackpool in England. And you can see this type of stuff that must have inspired Ross a little bit with his animations. All right, London's gonna do the career pilot now and find out what kind of career he's supposed to have. Go for it. Clock watcher? Like, to make sure that it's working? Or like, does that mean you just don't do anything? You just sit around and watch the clock? Sounds boring. Sounds way less exciting than being a love pirate. It still sounds better than being a fish peddler or a hypochondriac though. Dude, it is awesome in here. Fun fact about me, I never have ever been to a full-on big old circus ever. Just when I finally could have afforded to go and had time to go and all that stuff, they were all gone. I did see the parade though, when they bring the elephants from the train to wherever they were performing in Anaheim, so I've seen the circus, you know, kind of. I've seen the circus coming through, but I never got to sit under the big top. This is already taking way too long. We have lingered way too much. And it is busy, busy today, which is awesome. Last time I was at Tinkertown, there was nothing like a crowd like this. Well, if you want to see any of the pre-seating rooms in more detail, you'll have to refer back to our last visit. At the moment, it's getting pretty crowded in there, but maybe that's for the best. It's forcing us to move along. Dude, speaking of moving along, just when you think it's over, Tinkertown keeps going and going. And this is where it gets really interesting because you're out of the sort of normal sheds, if we could use that term, and into all the crazy, crooked walkways. Nothing is level. Everything's covered in old advertising or hand-painted stuff. Look at how the gaps are sealed up with old license plates. There's some nice philosophical messages on the walls here that were clearly important to the artists. And I love this stuff just as much as the little hand-carved figures, like looking at the way the strange mix of artifacts and building materials have been combined into this strange space. Look at this weird courtyard. There's trees growing up over here. There's the custom-made Ferg's Old Mill wishing well. You got the little Virgin Grotto back there. And hey, look back there. Is that Wonder Woman? Oh, fascinating, dude. Look at this little quote right here on this sign. I think I see a lot of those soulless men in the comments. I don't have a wide enough angle lens to begin to show you how wacky these courtyards look. It is awesome to be able to film them and share them with you. But all I'm gonna say is, if you ever have the chance to come here in person, do it. All right, we've now come into the dolls, toys, and music room, which contains like the Taj Mahal of doll houses right here. It's hard to show you guys on camera because there's so much glare and so many weird little lights, and then you got the sunlight pouring in. But you've got some more dioramas here made using toys. Look at this one. It says, Snow White said, "Send the prince back home. I'm with the king." And there's so many fun, strange, weird, vintage, antique toys. Look at this doll right here. That was handmade by Ross Ward, the creator of Tinkertown. You got everything from these tiny Mexican-themed miniatures to Ross's giant dollhouse I was showing you earlier. You got old lunch boxes in here, popcorn machines, game boards on the ceilings. I love all the colorful hand painting. And then look at this. Here, auto play. Automatic one-man band. You just simply pop in a quarter, stand back, and enjoy that thing playing. You can hear auto play in almost this little cathedral, this little chapel-like area back here. It's gorgeous in here. It's weird, the music's funky, but it's a lot of fun. Dude, I love this. They got everything from Pee Wee Herman to old creepy dolls that look like old crones and witches. They have bottle walls over here, so the light coming in looks so cool. And then these crazy old steamboat models. Look at this doll collection down here. Oh, you got some kissing dolls over there. And apparently this doll collection in this case came from Esther and Francis Goodale, who spent 15 years walking around the world, and they collected these dolls and many others on their journey. Like I said, not only are there all of his personal creations, but there's collections of weird things from all over the world. Look at this little peek-in window into this other doll collection room. Check out that Mark Twain doll back there with one of my favorite Mark Twain quotes ever on that sign underneath. You got Western dolls and Mr. Peanut. You've got creepy haunted looking dolls. You got everybody's mother-in-law. Fake Tyler? Burial dolls from Peru? Weird. So there's a little bit of creepy stuff, but this room is so fun and so epic. And the motto when you come in is perfect. This is sort of my life motto. You don't stop playing because you grow old. You grow old because you stop playing. There's actually a lot of good life advice here if you care to spend the time to read the hand-painted signs. Actually, London and I have been here for hours longer than we meant to be. We've been waiting to show you guys each piece of this between groups of people, and there have been a lot of groups of people. It wouldn't matter how many people are packed into here. Tinkertown would still be amazing to see and walk through, but a busy day at Tinkertown is definitely one of the hardest things I've ever tried to film in my life. I mean, the lighting, the contrast, the craziness, the fact that if you turn your head the wrong way and don't look both ways and up ways and down ways, you're gonna miss some little nook or cranny. You're gonna miss some great life advice or a great quote or a cool license plate or a weird carving, or you'll miss London's favorite, the face in the plate. I love all this, and I love it even more because Ross Ward just started building this place. Look, there's no plan. There's no blueprint for a place like this. And I almost forgot because we were up there in the toy room that down here, between the clown room and the toy room, there's a whole crazy, janky walkway that cruises through the backyard, which, by the way, has got a weird fake mine set up in it, and Old West mining equipment, and concrete bottle shrines. And all of it leading to the weirdest thing of all, or at least I should say the most unexpected thing of all, at least to me, a giant shed with a full-on sailboat inside. This is the Theodora, and the Theodora is famous for sailing around the world 80,000 sea miles in 10 years. I think between 1981 and 1991. So this is one of the last things acquired at Tinkertown, and it's easily the biggest. It's sort of strange, random, surreal to see a boat up here in the kind of deserty, dry mountains, especially a boat like this that sailed around the world. I love the fact that he built this crazy place. He was from North Dakota. He traveled all over, he painted stuff for the circus. I love the fact that he almost sort of, quote unquote, ran away to join the circus in a way by painting all those circus signs and becoming obsessed with that. You know, the circus people and the performers, all travelers, traveled obviously to old Ghost Town and to Knott's Berry Farm and all the way out to California. He was into Route 66 and the romance of the Mother Road, much like we're experiencing right now. The guy gets the ability to acquire a boat that sailed around the world and makes this big of a deal about it, creates this huge display where there's sound effects and stuff. Clearly, he was inspired by that spirit of adventure and travel and wanting to know what's over the next horizon. And like me, but apparently to the 10th power, obsessed with always tinkering with something, always building something, always creating something. Just judging by the quotes I even see on the fences around here. I just really love this guy, and I never met him. Tinkertown is like my dream. I would love to build something like this. Unfortunately, I don't even own a house, much less any land. Where would I do it? What would I do it with? What would be inside of it? Who knows? I know some people tell me, look, you've created a virtual roadside attraction, you know, through your videos and stuff, and that's cool. But let's face it, it is not the same as building something like this. Something like this will last maybe forever, especially if we keep visiting it and supporting it. Ooh, and look at this. It says, while Ross Ward tinkered and carved the Western Town Circus, he was also painting and drawing these window panes here. Kind of hard to see, and it's really, really hard to see with a camera because of the glare and stuff. But you can actually see into his private home through these windows and see the recreation of his art gallery. It's awesome. All right, I know you guys can't see it because we spent a lot of time waiting for different groups to pass and shooting in between them, but there are, like I said, a lot of people here. It is close, it is packed. We've had a lot of fun. Refer back to the other video if you want to see even more of Tinkertown, more details. But for the most part, we've done sort of the main loop today. And the important thing is I wanted you guys to see it again. I wanted London to see it. It's weird because a couple of days ago, somebody left a comment like, you got to go back to Tinkertown, which I was planning on doing anyways. They're like, they've changed it, they've cleaned it all up, but really it looks no different to me. I was actually kind of worried it was going to look different. I was worried they were going to kind of undo some of the charm or change things. I was thinking, what happened? Did Carla sell it? Does it have new owners? Luckily, everything looks pretty much just like I left it. which by the way is plenty enough. It's the kind of place that if it ever does have to pass on to new owners, you would hope that they would continue to add to the property or add new things to it. But it's the kind of place that there's so much stuff at it already. I imagine it would take you months of coming here every day to literally see and appreciate everything. It'd probably take you longer than it took Ross Ward to create all this stuff, to see it all. All right, just a little traffic jam towards the exit, London. You okay there? It's like Disneyland. We're back in line. Now, it's very popular today. They got a kids area. Look at this. A lot more Western tools. You never know if you're walking through what was an old shed or an old garage or something purpose-built. Look at those wagon wheels and those bottles and all these cool old artifacts. I would love this stuff anywhere, but surrounded by little miniatures, wood carvings, hand-painted signs, circus stuff, old prescription bottles, and beauty parlor, bar, and restaurant bottles. That just takes it all to the next level. Overstimulating?
Yeah.
Inspiring? You want to build some bottle walls?
Maybe.
He doesn't want to build any bottle walls, but this inspires me. I want to start building bottle walls and getting crazy and collecting old tools. But I've done stuff like that around you your whole life, so you're probably going to be one of those kids that grows up. It's like, I don't hold on to anything. I throw everything away. I don't keep old stuff. I don't want to collect old junk like my dad. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just giving London a hard time. I just asked London if he likes old stuff, and he said, I don't know. So he's still being formed as a person. That's why it was important for me to get you out here, share my passions with him, like I share my passions with all of you guys all the time. Notice that exit that we just came out of. It is right next door, back to back with that first hallway with all those dioramas. So you never really get a sense of how big Tinkertown is. It's sort of like a TARDIS. It's a little bit bigger on the inside, as it were. You know, part of it is Ross's old house. You know, part of it is the gift shop up there. And here's the workshop. It's just, it's so confusing. I've never seen a diagram of it. And I kind of never want to, because every time you come here, it feels like an exploration. All right, there's a lot more I wanted to show you, but that just gives me an excuse to come back next time. Wish I could have met you, Ross Ward. You are an inspiration. Whether it's the weird fortune teller closet shack, or the coin operated machines, or the bottle walls, or rocks and concrete, or crazy old West architecture, or the wood carvings, or the homemade animatronics, there is something at Tinkertown for everyone to admire. Our trip today was a little claustrophobic at times down in the trenches in there with all the crowds. That's what we get for a Saturday in June during summer vacation. Fun at least?
Yeah.
You ever been anywhere like this before?
No, it's too big to describe.
Too much stuff, huh?
Uh-huh.
And this is why you were like, what kind of place is this? I was like, I don't know. Honestly don't know how to explain. Now you see why. There's too much stuff.
It's not really a description.
No, there's no description.
It does not fall under any category.
No. I thought I had a hard time describing my book, because it's not like a one category thing. This would be impossible. How do you write the brochure for this?
No wonder all the websites focus on the guy, not the place.
Yeah, true. You almost have to describe Ross Ward instead of trying to describe what the heck he built here. That's absolutely accurate, because it's just too mind-blowing and strange. All right, guys, we had to head into the gift shop. We had to head for cover, because even though this is probably the best roadside attraction in America and one of my favorite places of all time, it is extremely overstimulating, and there were so many people trying to look at everything and new people coming in and checking out all the stuff. I think we had our turn this time. Okay, well, I hope that any of that made sense. We were in there for so long, and it's so overstimulating that when I leave a place like this, I honestly have no sense of how much got captured on camera, or if it makes any sense, or what I said, or if I repeated myself. I can't feel my brain, I can't feel my legs, I can't feel my arms. Tinkertown. I almost just want to come back tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day, and if I can ever afford to, I want to come do a whole Turquoise Trail, northern New Mexico trip, and spend seriously like 2 or 3 days just coming back here and looking with no camera. That's like a dream of mine. But then I guess I could say the same thing about dozens of other places that I love visiting across America. It really is a great country. We really have lived through a great century or two where so many weird, wacky, creative people have had the opportunity of getting a little piece of property and creating a weird thing. And I know for me, Tinkertown has inspired me big time in lots of ways: to pursue the carving, to stay busy with your hobbies, to be proud of being different, to try to be different, to keep being different, to keep making stuff, be productive, and most of all, that weird is awesome. Never feel bad for not fitting in. It's the people who don't fit in that come up with something new and amazing, or even just new twists on old favorites. Anyways, I hope any of that made sense. London and I are moving on down Route 66 after I use this porta potty over here, sick restroom facilities. And we are headed to one of my favorite, absolute favorite towns on Route 66 in New Mexico, to one of my favorite motels. We are gonna take 2 days off because we got like 5 videos to edit and we need a little bit of sleep, especially after that. You got anything to say? No, see, brain, no brain. Brain also, Brett, we were just both saying we're looking forward to like a long drive now with no talking, maybe headphones, maybe an audiobook, maybe silence, because my brain is full of Tinkertown and I hope yours is too now. Hey, check out the book. We got a new book. I wrote a book. I created something. It's not as cool as Tinkertown, but it's pretty close. Sort of. Want to see more adventures like this and help me get around the country more? We've got Patreon. We've got a new Randomland Route 66 shirt for pre-order in the store. All of this stuff can be found at randomland.com. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you especially for watching all the way till the very end. You're part of the All the Way to the Very End Club, which means you're some of my favorite people of all time. And it also means you've done your duty. You can go home and sleep well. That in there. Please do not read the signs on the ceiling. Well, what's the first thing you're gonna do? You're gonna read the signs on the ceiling. It's literally a secret passage.
It's like the haunted mansion. It's like 130 or so.
Dang!
And that's not all of them, believe it or not.
I can't. It keeps going and going. It's like, even in the gift shop, I thought, oh, we'll just go in the gift shop and buy some stuff, and like my brain start hurt brain. London, brain. You brain? How you brain? How you brain? How you can talk brain? No, London, no talk brain. London, no more brain. Dad, no more brain. Son, no more brain. No brain. Brain, no brain. Route 66 drive. Desert, no scenery. Good. Clear brain. Clear brain. Clear brain. Clear brain. Claustrophobic. Tinkertown crowded. Claustrophobic. Clear brain. Clear brain. Clear brain.